welcome. You're watching the NewsHour Agenda, India's most loved primetime show at 10. I'm Padmaja Joshi. The big story on your channel, and it comes from election-bound Karnataka that has already been on the boil in the coastal region as the RSS-SDPI clash. The latest flashpoint this time comes from Shivamogga, and the issue is pictures and posters of Veer Savarkar that were put up during Independence Day celebrations. Clashes were witnessed from across Karnataka, Shivamogga to Chikmagaluru to Tumkur to Mangalore. A fight between Savarkar and Tipu Sultan. In Tumkur and Chikmagaluru, Savarkar's posters that were put up as part of Independence Day celebrations were torn. In Mangalore, the SDPI opposed a play that was being performed by school children on the life and times of Savarkar. But things came to a head in Shivamogga, where Muslim groups objected to the display of Savarkar's posters and replaced them with banners of Tipu Sultan. This incident led to clashes between the two groups, in which one man was stabbed. The BJP has now accused an SDPI worker whose wife is linked to the Congress of sparking violence by deliberately insulting Savarkar in a video that was subsequently made viral. The man that you will see on your screen right now is Mohammed Sharif, a man who is allegedly responsible for starting the entire brawl over Savarkar. A member of the SDPI, he is also the husband of Congress corporator Mehek Banu. He forced and threatened the event organizers to take down posters of Savarkar and instead replace it with that of Tipu Sultan. First, listen in to the entire sequence of what unfolded just before the violence in Shivamogga started.
ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಬರ್ರಿ. ಬೂಟ್ ಕಾಲ್ನದ್ದವ್ರು ಫೋಟೋ ಹಾಕ್ತೀರಾ ನೀವು? ಸ್ವತಂತ್ರ ಹೋರಾಟಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾರು ಹೋರಾಟ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅವ್ರು ಫೋಟೋ ಹಾಕ್ರಿ. ಕ್ಷಮಾಪಣೆ ಪತ್ರ ಬರ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷ್ ಬೂಟ್ ಕಾಲ್ನದ್ದವ್ರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಫೋಟೋ ಹಾಕ್ತೀರಾ?
Now, soon after this tirade by Sharif against Savarkar, two sides clashed, leaving 20-year-old Prem Singh with grievous injuries. He was stabbed in the incident while trying to flee. Police have now arrested 4 men named Zabiullah, Tanveer, Nadeem and Abdul Rahman. One of the attackers, Nadeem, has also earlier been involved in the 2016 communal riots, where he had allegedly hurled slippers at a Ganesh procession in Shivamogga. So who is keeping Karnataka on edge? With the name of a past riot accused surfacing and his Congress links, and the recent spate of attacks on workers of the BJP and RSS in different parts of the state, both the Congress and BJP are now eyeball to eyeball accusing each other of trying to foment violence in an already volatile state.
They're in A circle, and after that there was an incident of stabbing in which one Prem Singh, he received a stabbing injuries. His condition is stable and he is undergoing treatment, and in this respect some 4 persons they have been already arrested. So now, right now, 144 section CRPC that is in force in Shivamogga and Bhadravati town, and it is for 3 days, and we have put some restriction on the pillion riders also. We are taking them into police custody, and then we will question them, and then we will try to find out who are having direct or indirect support to these people, or whether they are having any. This Nadeem, definitely he was involved in one 2016 incident in which sleeper was thrown on Ganesha procession, so he is one of the accused person in that incident. But right now we cannot say anything conclusively. Only after like a thorough interrogation of these people we can say anything.
भाग रहे थे घर पे, उसमें 20 मिनट पकड़ लिया, उसको टीका वगैरह सब लगाया था, उसको मालूम है ये हिंदू है करको, उसको पकड़ लिया है. पकड़ने के बाद उसको चाकू मारा है, पेट में चाकू मारा है. पेट अभी उसको हालत बहुत नाजुक है, अभी ऐसा नहीं है, अगर 10-15 दिन का डॉक्टर बोला है.
Now, both parties are accusing each other, the Congress and the BJP, of trying to put Karnataka on the boil. But the real question is the Congress today deciding to side with Tipu Sultan instead of Savarkar? Is Savarkar but an excuse to try and further polarize and communalize an election-bound state?
See, if anyone has taken the law into the hands, I appeal to the government, demand the government to take action. I don't want any Congress or any other political party leader to take their law into their hands. We want the law to be protected. We want peace in Karnataka. The peace has been disturbed. You please take action if anyone has done. But only just deciding to cover your face. You don't try to finger out at the congressman. No congressmen in the state have been asked. We will not allow, we will not permit. Ours has been a history full of sacrifices and commitment towards the peace of this nation.
SDPI ಕಾರ್ಯಕರ್ತ ಅವನ ಹೆಂಡತಿ ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಟರು ನಿನ್ನೆ ಬಹಳ ರಾಜಾರೋಷವಾಗಿ ಮಾತಾಡಿ ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯ ಹೋರಾಟಗಾರನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಬಿಡುಗಡೆ ಮಾಡಿದಾನಾತ. ಇದು ಬಹಳ ಜನರ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನೋವುಂಟು ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರದ ಒಬ್ಬ ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯ ಹೋರಾಟಗಾರರು ಮತ್ತು 13 ವರ್ಷ ಕರಿನೀರಿನ ಶಿಕ್ಷೆಗೆ ಒಳಗಾಗಿ ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯ ಹೋರಾಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಅದ್ವಿತೀಯವಾಗಿ ಒಬ್ಬ ಹೋರಾಟಗಾರ ಅವ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ವಿಶೇಷ ಲಘುವಾದಂಥ ಮಾತುಗಳನ್ನು ಆಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಕ್ರೋಧವನ್ನು ಉಂಟು ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅದು ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಆ ಆ್ಯಂಗಲ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಪೊಲೀಸರು.
You're watching the NewsHour at 10, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
All right, joining us on the debate, we have Vivek Srivastav, political analyst, Dr. Suman Raman, political analyst, Gokul Chandran, also political analyst, along with S.S. Sriram. But my first question is to spokesperson of the BJP, Mohan Viswa. Today, the former Chief Minister, Mr. Siddaramaiah, has asked Mr. Mohan Viswa, why are you putting Savarkar's photo in Muslim area and removing that of Tipu Sultan? You're doing double standard politics and deliberately trying to keep Karnataka on the boil. Are you?
Say, Padmaja, the Karnataka was very peaceful until the Siddaramaiah became Chief Minister in 2013. He was the one who started the Tipu Jayanti in the state of Karnataka just for the sake of getting votes of one particular religion. He was the man behind it. When everybody was opposed, come on, High Court itself has clearly said in one of the cases that Tipu was never a freedom fighter. Why do you want to do such celebrations? In 2016, High Court has asked when the Siddaramaiah government was there in the state of Karnataka. Just to appease one particular religion, Siddaramaiah started doing it. Post that, look at the kind of event that has happened. Just to appease that particular religion, what they're doing. So in their regime, there were 36 murders of Hindu Karyakartas. Okay? I cannot say that, in our regime, everything is controlled, but definitely we have brought things under control. Okay? Some cases like Harsha case also, it went to NIA. And recent Praveen Nettaru case also, it went to NIA. And also 2016, one case where I want to give specific reference so that people should understand the seriousness of NIA, where there was one murder in Siddaramaiah's regime in Shivaji Nagar. Mr. Rudresh has been murdered by same SDPA and TFI Gundas. In that case, when it went to NIA, till now it has been 6 years, not even a single person have got the bail. Okay? So this is the kind of investigation NIA is doing, and this is the kind of justice we are giving in the state of Karnataka. But being in a responsible opposition party, what Congress is doing, take an example of KJL, DJL riots itself, where the same SDPA, PFI goons were involved. The mastermind behind it was ex-mayor Mr. Sampratharaj from Congress. So Congress never took any action against him.
What is your point?
The same goons attacked their own MLAs.
Answer the question that Mr. Siddaramaiah is asking. Why are you going around putting Savarkar pictures everywhere? Has suddenly VD Savarkar become a hero for the BJP in Karnataka ahead of elections?
See, not ahead of elections. Savarkar is a hero for every Indian for several decades. Okay, so one dynasty who suppressed the history of Savarkar just for the sake of enjoying power, it doesn't mean that everybody hates Savarkar. Okay, so we Bharatiya Janata Party from day one, we worship Savarkar. Let us be very clear. Okay, he is the person who was, there in the jail for 13 years. He is a freedom fighter
for the BJP, and if it is made a part of Independence Day celebrations, why should anyone step in to try and foment violence? I think, Dr. Suman Raman, I think you muted yourself. Right, we seem to be having some problem. Vivek Srivastav, you can take that question. If a freedom fighter is part of Independence Day celebrations, why does anyone have a problem?
Right. Right. See, first of all, violence is bad. Stabbing someone, trying to attack someone, kill someone, whatever be somebody's belief, it is not justified. We are a civilized society and the rule of the law and the constitution should be supreme, number one. However, on the other hand, I do not know why BJP is so much in love with Savarkar. Savarkar supported the two-nation theory, a great friend of Jinnah. In fact, convinced him that the Hindus and Muslims have such strong cultural differences that they cannot live together. He is known as the Maafinama Savarkar. While Bhagat Singh decided to get himself hanged, and decided to give his life, and so did Chandrasekhar Azad, and so did Subhash Chandra Bose when they were fighting the British.
So you think it is better for Tipu Sultan to be there in Independence Day celebrations as opposed to a Savarkar?
A salary. Actually, no. Actually, there is no comparison. They are two different individuals and they have no relationship with each other.
But that is what the Congress has done. The Congress and other parties have gone and removed Savarkar posters and replaced it with Tipu Sultan.
Right.
What place does Tipu Sultan have in our Independence Day celebrations?
No. Come on, we was nowhere there when the first freedom fight struggle was done in 1857.
Savarkar was... He was taking money from the British. Savarkar was taking money from the British.
Show me, give me an example. Don't shoot the
bullet in the air. He was not killing Indians. First of all, you have made an unfounded allegation. But you would much rather have somebody who killed Indians as opposed to somebody who fought for India's freedom. Vivek Srivastav. That person is an icon for you.
I am not comparing Tipu Sultan with Savarkar at all. No, absolutely. They are two different individuals. And why are you comparing? I don't understand.
Because Mr. Siddaramaiah is saying that in Muslim areas, the BJP should not replace Tipu Sultan with Savarkar. His whole idea is that Muslims will get provoked because in Muslim areas, you are putting up Savarkar pictures.
Yeah. I think he should extend his statement by saying that Savarkar's poster should not be put even in Hindu areas because he was not patriotic, he was not against the British, he was not a freedom fighter, he was a stooge of the British, so it hurts the sentiments of Hindus like me.
Right, so it hurts the sentiments of Hindus like you, but how did a Hindu get stabbed?
I extend this. Yes.
Mohan Viswa.
Yeah, so it is not a question of Hindu versus Muslim, it is a question of Indians.
Right.
Indians get hurt when you are putting posters of people who did not have any contribution in the freedom struggle.
Mohan Viswa.
Come on.
And there is no
he was the guy who was there in Kalapani for 13 years. Have you seen the picture of Jawaharlal Nehru being in the jail and the picture of Savarkar being in the jail? Have you ever seen Jawaharlal Nehru wearing coffins in his hand? Have you seen ever picture of Jawaharlal Nehru wearing that?
Jawaharlal Nehru spent more than 16 years in jail. Do you know this?
Somehow, just a second, somehow, it seems really strange, Gokul Chandran, that putting up a poster of Savarkar is hurtful to Hindus according to Vivek Srivastav, yet there is only one person who has actually been hurt, and it's a man who is a Hindu himself. How is that? How is Prem Singh ending up getting stabbed when Savarkar is hurting Hindus?
Yeah, Padmaja, I will answer in two parts. First of all, we are discussing about Tipu Sultan and the question you asked to Vivek. Tell me one Indian king who has not killed fellow Hindus. When they go out for war, when they fight with the nearby provinces or states, they do kill Hindus. So Tipu Sultan was not an exception. Yeah, Tipu Sultan fought against the British. He waged a war against British, and in that sense, Tipu Sultan is also a freedom fighter. He took arms and weapons against the British, and he fought them bravely, and he is a freedom fighter. Unlike Savarkar, you tell me one movement which Savarkar has participated. He went to jail. He was in Kalapani for his terror activities in UK. Not in Indian soil. He did some terror activities there, and he was trying to run to
the Congress,
Paris.
Tipu Sultan is a bigger revolutionary and freedom fighter and an icon than Savarkar. V.D. Savarkar, Tipu Sultan. Tipu Sultan is superior and acceptable and a national icon.
Of course, yes. The next question regarding the Shivamogga incident. I will complete. Shivamogga incident. See, there was a communal violence. Whatever
okay, wait.
Muhammad
We will
Sharif.
listen to analysis in a bit, but let's take S.S. Sriram's opinion on this. So it's but natural. If an icon's poster is replaced with that of what Gokul Chandran calls a traitor, then naturally people will get angry. Naturally, Sharif there is upset.
For both Mr. Vivek Srivastav and Mr. Gokul Chandran, I would like to read a letter that was written by none other than Madam Indira Gandhi in the year May 20th, 1980. She has written, Veer Savarkar's daring defiance of the British government has its own importance in the annals of our freedom movement. I wish success to the plans to celebrate the birth centenary of Veer Savarkar. And do these gentlemen have any say for that? And who needs these two guys a certificate? He's an amazing, most daring freedom fighter of our nation, where these Congress and people like Srivastav and these people have categorically or systematically hidden the contribution and the sacrifice of Veer Savarkar. And they have a big problem. They have a very big problem. They don't want the Muslim friends to be hurt in any way. What nonsense is this when they say you should not put up a poster in a Muslim area? Tomorrow these guys will come and say, don't go in that Muslim area with a Ganesh Chaturthi, and we have to obey. What sort of a nonsense, hypocritical statement that these two guys are making?
Padmaja, give me a chance, Padmaja. Yeah, listen. Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru, Mr. Mahatma Gandhi, they were more Hindu than Savarkar. So it is not about Hindu leader being hated. It is not about. It is a traitor.
We don't need your
bloody certificate. Who acted against Bharat Mata.
You are a traitor.
Who is being attacked here. It is not a
You
Hindu.
are a number one traitor.
No true
guys
Hindu
who genocide. The Tipu Sultan who did genocide on Hindus, and you go behind him. You are the number one traitor.
Is not a Hindu.
You are the number one traitor.
Savarkar can never be a Hindu.
You are the number one traitor. Who go behind Tipu Sultan, who are the who did genocide on Hindus.
I never sided with the British. I never licked the boots of British. I never sided with the British.
You licked somebody else's
boots. I never licked the boots of British.
We know whose boot you licked.
I never wrote mercy petition. I didn't write mercy petition. It is your legacy. It is Hindu Mahasabha, RSS, BJP legacy.
We understand whose boot you will lick.
Of Britishers, which serve the British.
We understand
Mr. Gokul Chandran, let me begin, Sumanthi Raman. This is flabbergasting that somebody who historically has been proven to have killed Hindus in Mandya, there are entire villages whose ancestors have passed down history word of mouth of Tipu Sultan killing them by the hundreds, burning them alive by locking them in a room. He is being whitewashed and trying to be projected as some kind of freedom fighter by saying, oh, everyone killed at that time. Hindu kings killed, Tipu Sultan killed, that's okay. But Savarkar cannot be put up as a poster anywhere without people getting stabbed. What kind of perverted sense of history is this?
Padmaja, it's my turn, right?
Yes, go on, Mr. Sumanthi Raman.
Padmaja, I want to make one very quick point. I'm trying to go through and find a list of freedom fighters, quote unquote, who received pension from the British. And I find that I found one name, and that name was Mr. Savarkar, who received 60 rupees as pension. Now, it seems extremely bizarre that the British would want to give pension to somebody who is waging war against them. I mean, that's quite bizarre, right? I mean, the Indian government honored our freedom fighters after independence by giving them pensions, right? But we would not have honored, say, General Dyer or somebody or people who were inimical to the Indian cause with pensions, right? So Mr. Savarkar received a pension of rupees 60 up to 1947 is on record. So I don't know what Mr. Sriram is talking about or what the BJP spokesperson is talking about, but the fact remains that he received a pension. Now, the issue is not about whether Mr. Savarkar did this or what Tipu Sultan did. The issue is law and order is a state subject. It is incumbent on the Karnataka government to ensure that law and order is maintained instead of, constantly creating some reason or the other for tension, starting with the hijab issue. Where
No, just hold on a second.
I mean,
so if people come in, attack a man, stab him, tear off a Savarkar poster, how is this created by the Karnataka government? It is this man who, by the way, is the husband of a Congress councillor who is today being looked at as a suspect for starting the entire violence. Another man who has been arrested, who earlier in 2018 had flung a slipper at a Ganesh procession and started riots again in Shivamogga. How is this created by the government?
Yeah, one point. Wait, look. Media report says that the posters were pasted in front of a mosque. Now I am saying legally the right is there for anybody to paste a poster anywhere is an argument. But clearly it was an incident that actually caused tension. Perhaps it was sort of intended to cause some tension so that there could be some incident. Karnataka is going to the polls next year.
Because Savarkar poster is in front of a mosque, so that creates tension.
More and more for certain parties.
Okay, Mohan Viswa now respond to that. Savarkar poster in front of a mosque was to create tension.
There is a need. Savarkar poster, then only it will create tension. This is what you mean to say.
Parties.
This is what you mean to say. If there is a Tipu Sultan poster, it will not create any tension. But if you have a Savarkar poster, it will create tension. That's what you mean to say.
60 rupees.
Come on, if you want to talk about 60 rupees, what about why British were in favor of giving prime ministership to Jawaharlal Nehru? You tell me why they were in favor of giving prime ministership only to Jawaharlal Nehru? Is it not a big favor? Is it not a big favor? Then what kind of connection he had with them? Should we not ask that question?
British gave, is it? British made him prime minister.
British supported, not British gave. British supported.
I actually am unable to understand what exactly is your argument, Dr. Sumansi Raman. Are you saying that Savarkar should not be honoured because he was a stooge, or you're saying his posters were put there in front of a mosque to provoke Muslims? Either way, if today one person has been stabbed, you're saying somehow it again circles back to Savarkar. One man has been stabbed and Savarkar is responsible for it.
The Karnataka government should maintain law and order. That is the responsibility of the state government. Are you disagreeing with that point also and somehow wanting to blame the opposition?
Which is why 4 men have been picked up and soon more will be picked up. But then let's not have people rushing in to call it a witch hunt.
Therefore, let me tell you, in Chennai, for years together, the Ganesh Chaturthi procession used to pass through Triplicane, which has a large population of Muslims. Couple of times there were incidents. Thereafter, the police, as a preventive measure, says please avoid these routes. Now you can argue and say, why should we avoid these routes? Is there a law which says we should not avoid these routes? We could do that, certainly. But today the procession does not go through that place.
And you're saying that's a good thing.
There has been no.
You have literally right now endorsed ghettoization of entire areas, sir. And you're saying it's just a practical thing to do. Let me actually remind you that the same argument, if it was applied to a Dalit Bharat going through an upper caste basti, would be called discriminatory. But you're sitting here on national TV and calling it some great law and order measure where people have been told to avoid entire areas to take out their religious procession. Anyhow, let's not get into that. Mr. Sriram wants to respond to what you said earlier. Mr. Sriram. Reviving the ghost of Savarkar in order to provoke Muslims. Mr. Sriram.
Padmaja, thankfully, Sumansi Raman accepted the kind of appeasement that is happening in Tamil Nadu, where the Hindu procession or a Ganesh Chaturthi procession, which can rightfully go anywhere that it deems fit, is being stopped from not going in a particular area. So this is what they are trying to slowly put the pressure on the majority, saying that wherever Muslims are, you can't put the posters of Savarkar, you can't take a Ganesh Chaturthi, because it is kind of a Sharia law, undeclared Sharia law, that is what this part of this country is, and that is what Mr. Sumansi Raman and the other two gentlemen would talk. Now what sort of a bizarre argument is this that really exposes their absolute hypocrisy and appeasement of minorities? That is what they would like to do, and they have the audacity to say that BJP is playing the communal card. That is so laughing. It's laughable.
And to think that earlier we were told in the case of Jahangir Puri, do not take out Hanuman Jayanti processions because it will instigate people in Muslim areas. Now you're saying don't put Savarkar posters because that will also instigate. Tomorrow you will say that people should not pass through these areas, perhaps that will also be taken as instigation. And this, by the way, sir, if you're forwarding this theory, imagine how dangerous it will be for every community that in a Hindu majority country, will minorities be asked to stay away from those areas as well? This is ghettoization. The moot point of this entire issue is that if there is a stabbing that has happened, instead of trying to look for excuses to justify violence, people who are trying to provoke, incite, whoever they may be, should be identified and put behind bars. 4 arrests have been made. More, hopefully, will soon happen. Thanks very much, all gentlemen, for joining me.